after the decision on authority and communication, Chapter 9 of Herbert Simon's book focuses on the third mechanism by which an organization influences administrative decision, the criterion of efficiency. What does efficiency mean here? At its core, efficiency is about maximizing outputs from given inputs, ensuring that resources are used in the most effective way possible to achieve desired outcomes. In organizations, the inputs, such as time and money, are limited. In for-profit organizations, efficiency often translates to financial terms, maximizing profits while minimizing costs. Efficiency can be evaluated by straightforward, quantifiable measures. If a company can produce a product using less material or labor, thereby reducing costs without compromising on the product's price or quality, it is considered to have improved its efficiency. This is because it achieves a greater net monetary return for the organization. However, when we shift our focus to public administration, educational administration included, the definition of efficiency must be broadened to include non-monetary factors. Public agencies often aim to maximize social welfare, educational outcomes, or public service quality, which are not easily quantified in monetary terms. For example, an organizational program that significantly improves student literacy rates demonstrates efficiency in using resources, such as time, money, and personnel, to achieve substantial non-monetary outcomes. As a result, a public administrator's responsibility is to maximize the governmental objectives by the efficient use of the limited resources that are available to them. But this administrative activity is not value neutral. In fact, administrators' values are demonstrated through how they use the limited resources. For example, the salaries of employees demonstrate what is valued. If the highest annual salary for operative employees, such as teachers, is about $80,000, but the school district superintendent is paid about $500,000 a year, and the central office administrators are usually paid over $100,000 a year, what values does it suggest to organizational members? The substantial difference in compensation suggests a high value is placed on leadership and administrative roles over frontline educational roles. If it indicates a belief that the district's central office decision-making and oversight are significantly more valuable to the organization's success than the core function of the schools provided by teachers. It reflects a decision-making process in which allocating a larger portion of the budget to administrative salaries is prioritized over potentially investing more in frontline educational staff or resources. This could imply a belief that top-level administrators have a greater impact on the overall quality of education and organizational performance. But the reality is that operative employees are directly involved in the core activities that achieve the organizational goals. Their work is essential to the immediate operation and services the organization provides. In a school, teachers who are operative employees are crucial for delivering education. Without them, teaching and learning processes come to a standstill. On the other hand, non-operative employees, such as those in central office positions, while important for overall coordination, oversight, and support, may not impact the day-to-day operations in the same immediate way. Their roles are typically more removed from the frontline services, focusing on planning, oversight, and administrative functions that, while essential for long-term success and operational support, do not hold the organization's primary function in the short term if they are absent. If operative employees, like teachers, were to strike for a day or a week, the organization's ability to deliver its core services would likely be severely disrupted or grind to a halt, demonstrating their essential function in an organization. However, if non-operative employees in the central office were to strike, the organization may still function in the short term, albeit potentially with some long-term administrative or support-related repercussions. This is why you can evaluate a public agency's efficiency through budget documents, which represent inputs or costs, and the organizational performance, which represent outputs or results. Budgeting serves as a basis for allocation of expenditure. We can look at both annual budgets and long-term budgets. In the chapter on the criterion of efficiency, Simon also introduced the functional principle of organization, highlighting that the specialization by area and clientele essentially represent specific forms of functional specialization. To successfully apply the functional principle of organization, two criteria must be met for effective functionalization. First, dividing work activities and goals along functional lines should be feasible, meaning it is practical to use tools, systems, processes, and knowledge to enable the organization to efficiently organize work activities and goals along those lines. For example, in an educational context, this means that the school system has the necessary tools, system, processes, knowledge, and expertise in place to support specialized functions such as curriculum development, student service, and administrative tasks, ensuring that each area can operate independently without compromising efficiency. Second, the specialized work activities should not significantly impact values unrelated to the defined functions. For example, a fire department does not refuse to extinguish a fire because the building on fire is outside its jurisdiction. Similarly, it is not uncommon to see different departments in an organization passing responsibilities or issues back and forth, effectively kicking the ball to each other without resolving the issues. Organizational members attempting to solve those problems often feel like they're running into dead ends with demotivating frustration. Moreover, in administration, the addition of excessive red tape by different departments can significantly reduce efficiency. Red tape refers to excessive bureaucracy or adherence to complex rules and procedures that can undermine decision-making processes, slow down the implementation of initiatives, and complicate day-to-day operations. When departments in a school district or a higher education institution impose unnecessary procedural requirements, it can lead to delays, increased costs, and frustration among staff and stakeholders, ultimately detracting from the organization's ability to serve its students effectively. In this case, administrators must evaluate existing procedures, streamline processes, and establish clear, efficient protocols that facilitate rather than obstruct organizational goals. Here is my question for you. Public school districts are commonly organized into zones based on geography and structured by school levels, including elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. How can school districts be restructured to improve efficiency